Elvis is signing an autograph. In a memorable moment from the Monkees TV special 33 1/3 Revolutions per Monkey in 1969, Fats Domino, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis and Brian Auger pose with their pianos stacked up. Brian says that these shots were candid and not staged, engraving music by hand in London during the 1960s. Sydney crime boss Kate Lee led gangs, sold illegal alcohol and drugs in 1930. The Wyoming State Prison baseball team was in Rawlins, and it was made up of murderers, rapists, thieves, and a forger. The warden's young son sits in the middle as their mascot. Executions were delayed only as long as they kept winning, and this was in 1911. Rose Kennedy, the mother of assassinated United States President John Kennedy, outlived her 4 children, 3 grandchildren, 3 sons-in-law and daughter-in-law Jacqueline, and died at the age of 104. Trem Stuck in the Snow, Komsomolsk on Amur, 1960s. Children are watching as their neighbourhood is bombed in Minsk, Belarusia. The bombing was part of Operation Barbarossa. It happened in June 1941. Brigitte Bardot, Cannes, 1950s. Barcelona, 1909. Howard University students are studying in the library's reading room. The year was 1946. Federal Reserve Bank, New York, 1959. On October 13th, 1960, Bill Mazeroski hit the greatest home run in baseball history. Claudia Cardinal and Jean-Paul Belmondo are at the Cannes Film Festival in 1972. Here's what the text says. It's Albert Einstein's Swiss passport. It was issued in June 1923. Angelina Jolie as a child in the 1970s. Two young friends who are thieves are being punished by being put in the stocks. This happened in Old Street, London, England in 1872. Shelves filled with forgotten umbrellas. This is in Rome at the Lost Property Office in 1964, Italy. A chemical tank fell off a plane over Oklahoma during a flight in 1971. Salvador Dali and his muse and wife Gala, 1945. Simone Seguin, an 18-year-old French resistance fighter in 1944. Arnold Schwarzenegger is being filmed for Pumping Iron in 1977. Christmas at the Hospital in Sweden, 1953. Miss Jean Devereaux, New York City's first licensed female barber, is posing while shaving a client in 1927. Sophia Loren and Pickled Eels, 1951. An Apache Indian kneels and kisses the hand of Pope John XXIII during an audience with a delegation of Indians in the Vatican in 1961. Shooting Bull, Central Park, New York, November 3rd, 1913. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, and Stanley Kubrick are on the set of Eyes Wide Shut in 1999. It's a colour version of one of the many photographic portraits of Adolf Hitler. Moscow, 1951, Star on the Spire. Robert De Niro with his father in 1946. The swimwear collection is on show in London, 1936. A Dutch woman is entering military captivity with her husband, a German soldier, in 1944. Monica Bellucci, 1993. Alfred Hitchcock is with his grandchildren, enjoying the snow in 1960. Elton John at Dodger Stadium, 1975. A consolidated B-24J Liberator was salvaged at Kingman Army Airfield in April of 1947. John F. Kennedy visits the Tower of Pisa in 1937. There's a girl and she's reading a Christian book. This is during the swinging 60s, and she's in Oxford University Park. Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, Hugh Laurie, Kate Winslet and Harriet Walton, 1994. A woman and a young child are in a sleeping area. It's set up in an underground station in London, England. This was used as an air raid shelter during World War II, around 1941. A Soviet officer tries a hot dog and Coca-Cola for the first time on board an American cruiser in 1989. Motorola engineer John Mitchell is on the streets of New York in 1973 with his phone. Mitchell helped design the first mobile phone. Sandra Bullock, 1995. Che Guevara's fake passport shows the disguise he used to enter Bolivia in 1966 to help the insurgency there. Less than a year later, he would be executed by a CIA-backed militia. When Jolly Marie, weighing 620 pounds, won the Big Girls contest at Luna Park, she got a prize of $25 and a season ticket to the park, August 24, 1925. She's starting to use the ticket by riding on the witching waves. Street acrobats were performing in Japan during the 1880s. Jennifer Lopez in the 90s. Michelle Pfeiffer from the early 1980s. The annual midnight swearing-in of Nazi SS troops took place in Feldherrenhalle, Munich, in 1938. An African king is riding on the back of a person and he's holding an umbrella. This happened in German East Africa in 1913. Ava Gardner in the 1960s. Wooden Leg, whose name is Kahamak Xavier Watae, is on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation in Montana. This was in 1927. The Glass House, England, 1958. David Bowie, Brian May and Roger Taylor are sitting behind Princess Diana at the Live Aid concert in 1985. Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic from Nirvana were at Kurt Cobain's funeral. This took place in Seattle, Washington in 1994. Lee Rogers, a retired Cavite Navy yard worker, and John C. Todd, 63, a miner, are sitting outside Santo Tomas internment camp in the Philippines after it was freed. Both had been prisoners of the Japanese army for 4 years. This was in 1945. It's Harrison Ford in the 1970s. An officer is arresting a man. The man wasn't wearing a mask and he wasn't taking the Spanish flu pandemic seriously. This happened in San Francisco, California in 1918. A wedding of the 21st century. A group of Soviet forces in Germany protests against air pollution in 1989. Dairy Queen employees in West Columbia, Texas, 1976. Young Angela Merkel is having a schnapps with fishermen on the island of Rügen during her first MP campaign in the summer of 1990. Pam Grier's posing before going to a tennis match, 1976. Soldiers are checking out sculptures on the Hacienda grounds. This was during the 1980s, and Pablo Escobar was there. The first Apple computer was made in 1976. Fred Rogers is testifying before Congress about funding for the public broadcasting service. This was on the 1st of May, 1969. Donald Trump is pictured with Miss Teen USA contestants from around 1997. Eugenia Fellini, a man-woman, also known as Harry Crawford, pretended to be a man. They tried to marry the widow they murdered. They're pictured in men's clothing. Alfred Hitchcock, at home with his Sealyham Terrier, Mr. Jenkins, 1939. Coca-Cola cans from 1936. Civilians in 1944 during the Battle of Saipan. A member of the Women's Royal Army Corps is showing off her new tattoo to her friends. Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Hugo Weaving at the premiere of The Matrix, 1999. Sponge Merchant, Austria-Hungary, 1904. In the 1950s, kindergarten nap time was a non-negotiable. Educators believed kids needed that rest to grow and thrive. Lunch wrapped up, and then it was mat or cot time for every kid in specially designed classrooms. 3 French boys are looking at a knocked-out Panzer V Panther in the Falaise pocket of Saint-Lambert-sur-Dive, Normandy. The date is August 25th, 1944. Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz is holding a copy of the Instrument of Surrender of the Japanese Empire at his home in Berkeley, California, around 1948. Two women are standing on giant turtles during a turtle race. This is in Miami, United States in the 1920s. March 16, 1986, a Mickey Mouse mascot in Pripyat in the Soviet Union during the celebration of the farewell to winter. In 1920, women voted for the first time, and many were drawn to Warren G. Harding's looks. Ironically, Harding had spoken against women's suffrage earlier, yet their new ballots pushed the handsomest man in politics straight into the White House. A Meccan merchant and his Circassian slave. This was in Mecca, 1887 to 1888. Princess Diana danced with John Travolta at a White House state dinner on November 9, 1985. We have the Beatles, when they were teenagers. From left to right, there's George Harrison, who was 14, John Lennon, age 17, and Paul McCartney, age 15. This was around 1957. Say That Again and I'll Dip You In, 1897. Barbara Lieber, a 9-year-old sugar beet worker, is hoeing with her 11-year-old sister on a Wisconsin farm near St. John, 1915. Mick Jagger, Andy Warhol and Jane Holzer around 1965. Robert E. Howard on the right, who created Conan the Barbarian, is with his neighbours, siblings Leroy and Faustine Butler. They're all dressed as pirates, showing off the sword collection of the teenage Howards. This was around 1923 to 1925. A woman is standing in water in Florida in 1947. The first photo of Chernobyl taken on the morning of the nuclear disaster, April 26, 1986. There's a dog riding in a car from 1961. French farmers and their sheep are protesting at the Eiffel Tower. They're against the construction of a military base on their land back in 1972. The first electric cab in London, 1897. A family of Russian peasants is making wooden toys to sell. This was in the early 20th century. Henson and 4 Inuit. They were members of the North Pole expedition in 1909. They're eating pasta at the Giro d'Italia, 1966. Trabant cars, German Democratic Republic, 1970s. Muammar Gaddafi is with a bodyguard. This happened in Cairo in 1994. Hubert de Givenchy is adjusting the fitting of his design on model Jackie Mazel in 1953. British military policemen are questioning a German prisoner. He was caught carrying a large quantity of Soviet banknotes. This happened in Normandy on the 20th of July 1944. Here are the McDonald brothers in front of the first McDonald's, which wasn't open yet. This was in November of 1948 in San Bernardino, California. trucks with sawn 1,000-year-old sequoias. This happened in North Bend, USA in 1943. Mother Teresa was born in 1910. She was an Albanian Indian Roman Catholic nun. She founded the Missionaries of Charity. This is a religious congregation. It provided care to the poor, orphaned, sick, and dying. She lived from 1910 to 1997. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. She was canonized as St. Teresa of Calcutta in 2016. Sandra Brown, the first black woman on the Oakland police force, gets instructions on how to shoot a shotgun 1970. In 1938, Marilyn Monroe was 12 years old. Princess Mafalda of Savoy, the second daughter of King Victor Emmanuel III of Italy, and his wife Eleanor of Montenegro. In 1943, she was imprisoned in Buchenwald concentration camp and died there. American tanker Wally Rajeeb is washing clothes in a homemade washing machine. This is in New Guinea in 1942. Stahlhelm, the stages of the helmet-making process for the Stahlhelms of the Imperial German Army in 1916. Mayor Bernie Sanders picks up trash on his own in a public park after being elected in 1981, his first electoral victory. There's a boxing match happening aboard the USS Oregon. That's Battleship No. 3 back in 1897. A young Jeffrey Dahmer is posing with a giant snow sculpture of a bong. A woman from Bakutu in the Belgian Congo, which is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo from 1957. The 5th Engineer Special Brigade helped bring men ashore on Omaha Beach. The landing craft the men were in was attacked by enemy fire, and they made their way to the beach in the rubber raft. This happened in June 1944. Schoolchildren in a Catholic area of Belfast are posing with a patrolling British soldier. This was in Northern Ireland around May 13, 1981. Trappers and hunters in the Four Peaks country in Browns Basin, Arizona. The date is unknown. A hippie mother with a baby, London, 1967. Roy Rep and his stunt car, 1915. Audrey Hepburn and Jane Fonda at the Oscars in 1965. There were hot dogs for sale during a football match in Gothenburg, Sweden, in 1939. Rows of crosses mark the 4th Marine Division Cemetery on Iwo Jima, a solemn landscape carved into the volcanic island just weeks after the battle. Nearly 7,000 US Marines and sailors found their final resting place here. March 1945.